exciting stuff this weekend. Thursday night game was Cowboys-Giants. Cowboys win 20-15. Prescott has Cowboys go to 2-2, Giants 1-3. 0-2 at home for the Giants. Prescott 22-27, 221, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Dowdle, 46 yards rushing. Lamb has the receiving TD. Dowdle has one as well. 98 yards receiving for Lamb. Lawrence had the one sack. They had one pick on Daniel Jones, who had 281 yards and 29 of 40. No TDs. Singletary has 24 yards rushing. That's about it. 24 carries for 26 yards. Neighbors has 115 yards receiving. I believe he got a concussion, so that's not good. Robinson had 71 yards receiving. Tracy Jr. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I thought that was a pick. Thibodeau has the sack for the Giants. Not much going on, really, in that game. Falcons beat the Saints 26-24. Both teams are now 2-2 as the Saints started hot 2-0 and now dropped 2 in a row. Oh, wow. The quarterbacks kind of mirrored each other. Derek Carr, 239 yards, pick, no TDs. Kamara has 77 yards, rushing and a touchdown. Hill has 2 rushing touchdowns. Chris Olave, I don't know, has 87 yards receiving, 8 catches. Shaheed, 83. He also fumbles once. Turner has the sack. These last names are killing me. Paulson has a pick for the Saints. Cousins has 238 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. They run the ball for 88 yards as a team. They only ran the ball 15 times. Drake London, 64 yards receiving to lead the way. This was just another game, too. Alfred has the sack. Troy Anderson has a pick for a touchdown. So that was an interception return for TD. So the Falcons go to 2-2. And the Saints are also 2-2. Bears beat the Rams 24-18. They are now 2-2. The Rams are 1-3. With all their losses on the road, they've only played one home game. Stafford 224 yards and a pick, no touchdowns. Sacked 3 times. Williams 94 yards rushing and a touchdown. Atwell 82 yards receiving to lead the Rams. Stafford also loses a fumble. Lake has a sack. Fisk has a sack. Hoyt has a sack. Brisker has the pick for the Bears. Caleb Williams, nice little game. 157 yards on 17-23. Touchdown, no picks. Swift and Johnson both have rushing touchdowns, and Swift has 93 yards. Rushing, he also leads the way receiving with 7 for 72. DJ Moore has the touchdown, the receiving TD. Brisker with the sack. Sweat with the sack. You'd think it was Sweat the way it's spelled, but it's probably like Sweet. Dexter Sr. has a sack as well. So Bears up to 2-2. Rams kind of, I feel like the Rams are just kind of going to fade away. They got that Super Bowl, and which was the point, right? They traded for Stafford. They got the Super Bowl. It's all that matters. Vikings moved to 4-0 by beating the Packers 31-29. Packers go to 2-2. They were up 28-0 in this game. The Vikings, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they were up 20. Oh no, wait. I guess they were up 28-7 at the half. Packers put on 22 in the fourth quarter, but it's not enough. Sam Darnold, still getting it done. 275 yards, 3 TDs and a pick. Aaron Jones, 93 yards rushing. Addison has the rushing touchdown. Jefferson and Addison both have receiving TDs, as does Oliver. Jefferson has 85 yards receiving to lead the way. They did lose 2 fumbles as a team. This is probably when the comeback started. Griffin, Hill, Murphy Jr. all have picks. So they picked Jordan Love 3 times in his comeback return. He has 389 yards, throws 54 times, 4 TDs, 3 picks. They run the ball for 86 yards total as a team. Jacobs 51. Jalen Reed 139 yards receiving and a TD. Wicks has 2 receiving TDs. Kraft has the other receiving TD. Kraft loses a fumble as well. They get a pair of sacks and McKinney has the pick. So they came back, but hey, you build the lead. You don't want to blow that lead, but you build up the lead just in case the team comes back, right? Yeah, they had a big enough lead to where they win. So the Vikings 4-0. I think there's only 2 undefeated teams left now. Last week, I think I said there was like 3. I think there was like 5. Colts beat the Steelers, and the Steelers are one of those teams that were 3-0, but now they're 3-1. Colts are 2-2. Justin Fields still playing well, 312 yards, passing and a TD. He rushes, he's the leading rusher, 55 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing, so he's still doing his thing. Pickens leads the way with 113 yards receiving. Freiermuth. These freaking names. 1 TD, he had the receiving TD. Fields does fumble twice and loses 1. Pickens loses a fumble as well. Joe Flacco on the Colts. I didn't know he was on the Colts. He apparently came in. I don't know if Richardson got hurt, because he was 3 of 4 for 71. But Flacco comes in, 168 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. Jonathan Taylor's having a nice year, I feel. 88 yards rushing and a TD. Pittman Jr., 113 yards receiving. And Downs and Ogletree have the 2 receiving TDs. They sack Fields 4 times. So Colts get to 2-2. Whoops. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Game of the week, game of the year. The Broncos win an offensive display. Broncos beat the Jets 10-9 in Jersey. This game was a defensive struggle. I think it was downpouring most of the day, but Bo Nix, 12 of 25, 60 yards and a touchdown. No picks. He doesn't get sacked either. They run the ball for 126 yards. Williams leads the way with 77. That's his best game of the year. Sutton literally has... This is weird because they must have been throwing a lot of these freaking screens, I guess, that were getting stuffed, or these just quick outs to the receivers that were getting stuffed for losses. Because they have 60 yards receiving, but they lost 6 yards. So Cortland Sutton has 3 catches, 60 yards. He has the TD. It's just Denver did nothing. I mean, they did run the ball well, but they lose 1 fumble. Locke has a sack. Cooper, Franklin Myers has a sack. Benito has a sack. They get 5 sacks as a team on Aaron Rodgers. The Jets had a chance to win at the end, but Zerline missed a field goal. Zerline did all the scoring for the Jets. Rodgers has 225 yards, no TDs, no picks. Like I said, he got sacked 5 times. They run the ball for 4 yards. Mike Williams leads the way receiving with 67 yards. Garrett Wilson loses a fumble. Jets 2-2 now. Denver's D is actually still really good, surprisingly. I think it's Vance Joseph is their defensive coordinator. He was their coach for a little bit too, but Peyton brought him back. He's been scheming up, obviously. obviously, because their D's are really good. Even in the one of their losses, they only gave 13 points to the Steelers. Problem is their offense is awful. Hopefully it gets better as the year goes by, or at least slightly better. But a win's a win. Yeah, like I said, Zerline had the 3, 4. Lutz was 1 of 2 for Denver. So Denver's got 2 home games now. They played 3 on the road out of their first 4. They got the Raiders and the Chargers home. Those are winnable games for them, even though they could easily lose them as well. But those are ones I feel are winnable, because I think after that, no, there's a stretch where they have to go to Baltimore and KC back to back. And those are going to be losses. Bucks bounced back after losing to Denver last week. They beat up on the Eagles 33-16. Eagles 2-2. Bucks 3-1. Hurts 158 yards, touchdown, no picks. He's sacked 6 times. Barkley has 84 yards rushing. He's having a good year. Hurts does rush for a touchdown. Goddard leads the way. 62 yards receiving. Campbell has the receiving TD. Hurts fumbles twice, loses one. Not much doing for the Eagles. Mayfield 347, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Irving and Mayfield have the rushing TDs. They rush for 111 yards as a team. Both their running back, I guess it's their top running backs, White and Irving, 10 rushes each for 49 yards. Mike Evans still doing it, 94 yards receiving and a touchdown. Palmer has the other touchdown receiving. 2 sacks for David, and then they get a 6 sacks as a team. I feel like there's a lot of sacks this year. But the Bucks go to 3-1. Bengals get their first win of the year against the Panthers. Both teams are now 1-3. Andy Dalton, Bengals old quarterback. I'll get to him in a second. Burrow has 232, 2 TDs and a pick. Chase Brown, 80 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. They rush the ball for 141 yards. Jamar Chase has the receiving TD with 85 yards, receiving to lead the way. Zach Moss has the other receiving TD. No sacks for them. Okay, so there's no sacks. As I'm saying, there's a ton of sacks this year. Neither of these teams had a sack. Von Bell has the pick. Okay, Von Bell has a pick for the Bengals. Xavier Woods has the pick for the Panthers. Dalton, 2 TDs and a pick, 220 yards. Hubbard has 104 yards, rushing and a TD. Nice game for him. Johnson, 83 yards, receiving a touchdown. Legay, 66 yards and a TD, receiving. Not much happening here. Even though it's 34-24 game. Well, the running backs did well. Bengals get their first win. So now the Bengals have to try to fight back, claw back. Because the Bengals have a good team. They're just weird. They started 0-3 last year, too. And they missed the playoffs, but I think they ended up... Did they miss the playoffs last year? I think they did. But they ended up with like 8 or 9 wins, I think. Next game here. Texans beat the Jaguars 24-20. The Jags are now 0-4. They are... Wow. Remember they had that playoff win a couple of years ago with Lawrence, and now it's just... Well, last year they fell apart, actually. And it's continuing this year. But Lawrence has 169 yards and 2 TDs, no picks. Bigsby has 90 yards of rushing. They do run for 158 yards. Lawrence is sacked once. Thomas Jr. has a receiving TD and 86 yards receiving. Kirk, 61 yards receiving and a touchdown. Harris has the sack. Stroud, 2 TDs, no picks, 345 yards. He's sacked twice. Akers has 53 yards. Rushing, Stephon Diggs has the rushing touchdown. Collins, 151 yards receiving on 12 catches and a TD. I'm not even going to attempt to say this guy's name. Number 33. I'm going to start using their numbers instead. Number 33 has the other receiving TD. So the Texans are 3-1. Who else is in that? Colts are 2-2. Oh yeah, they're gonna win that division. Colts are 2-2, and the Titans are 1-3 now. We'll get to them. Washington beats up on Arizona 42-14. So Washington's 3-1 now, and Arizona, the Cardinals dropped them 1-3. Daniels 233, a touchdown to pick for the Commanders. Robinson Jr. has 101 yards rushing and a TD. McNichols 2 rushing touchdowns. Daniels also has a rushing touchdown. They rushed for 4 TDs on 216 yards. So McLaurin has the receiving TD. Zacchaeus has 85 yards receiving. I probably said that wrong. To lead the way. Alright, so the sacks are back here. They get 4 sacks on Kyler Murray. Was 142 yards and a touchdown. He throws no picks. Connor has 104 yards. Rushing and a TD. Marvin Harrison Jr. 45 yards to lead the way receiving and a TD. Wilson loses a fumble. Washington 3-1 now. They're the division leaders after 4 games early in the season. 49ers go to 2-2 on the year, beating the Patriots, who are now 1-3, 30-13. Brissett, 68 yards, a touchdown to pick. He's sacked 6 times. Here come the sacks again. Stevenson, 43 yards rushing. Gibson, 67 yards receiving to lead the way. Hooper has a TD, has the receiving TD. Brissett fumbles 3 times and loses 1. Jabril Peppers has a pick. Brock Purdy, 288 yards, touchdown and a pick. Mason, 123 yards, rushing and a TD. So clearly the 49ers have a sick offensive line because this guy Mason is obviously subbing in for McCaffrey and he's going nuts. Does he lead I gotta look at his stats. Does he lead the league in rushing? He has 447 yards, so he's second in the league in rushing. He's carried the ball 91 times, which is first. So they don't even skip a beat, although McCaffrey is a good receiver too. Jennings has 88 yards receiving to lead the way. Kittle has the TD. They do fumble 3 times, but only lose 1. 2.5 sacks for Givens. Fred Warner has the pick, and it's a return for a touchdown. Moody 3 of 3 on the field goals for San Fran. Who's 2-2. Alright, here we go. We got 5 games left. Got it. No teams are on buys yet. Raiders beat the Browns 20-16 to go to 2-2. The Browns dropped to 1-3. Watson, 176 yards, a TD and a pick. He's sacked 3 times. Ford rushes for 58 yards to lead the way. Jerry Jeudy, the old Bronco, leads the way with 72 yards receiving. Whitehart has the receiving touchdown. 2 sacks for Myles Garrett. Gardner Minshew, 130 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. They run the ball for 152 yards. DJ Turner has the rushing touchdown. Mattinson has 60 yards rushing on 5 carries to lead the way. Jacoby Myers, 49 yards receiving. White loses a fumble. They get 3 sacks. I don't know how to say this guy's last name either. Trevon. Number number 7 has a pick. I don't know his last name. Or Trayvon. It could be Trayvon. Raiders go to 2-2. So the Chiefs, I think, are 4-0 now, and everybody else is 2-2. Denver's surprising 2-2. They probably, if they win like 2 more games, they'll surpass their expected win total. The NFL is pretty damn weak, man. Like, it's a week. I feel like the league is there's just not. Like, even the Chiefs don't blow out teams. They just have the winning edge with Mahomes. They have Mahomes. They have the winning edge. They have a good defense, Mahomes. They're going to win all the close games. They have the experience. They're always going to get the close wins. As in this game, Chargers were up 10-0. The Chiefs beat the Chargers 17-10 to go to 4-0. Chargers are 2-2. The Chargers were up 10-0. They act as though they blew a huge lead. It's like, no. Mahomes has a TD and a pick, 245 yards. He's sacked 3 times. Hunt has 69 yards rushing. Perrine has a rushing touchdown. Worthy has a receiving TD. Kelsey leads the way with 89 yards receiving. Somebody got hurt, I think. On the Chiefs, I don't know. They get 2 sacks. Herbert has 179 yards. And TD sacked twice. Dobbins, 32 yards rushing. They rushed for both 55 yards. McConkey, 67 yards receiving in the TD. Yeah, so offensively, they do nothing. I don't know where the Chiefs' D ranks. Fulton has the pick. Chargers are just another team. I feel. Well, were they the ones that blew that massive lead to Jacksonville actually in the playoffs? I feel like it's been downhill since then. Ravens beat up on the Bills 35-10 to go to 2-2, so they're starting to find a groove. Bills are 3-1. This is a Sunday night game now. Allen, 180 yards, no TDs, no picks, sacked 3 times. They don't do much. Ty Johnson has a rushing TD. Shakir leads the way with 62 yards receiving. Allen loses a fumble. They have a sack. Their field goal kicker kicks a 50-yarder. Lamar Jackson, 156 yards on only 18 pass attempts. 2 TDs, no picks. Henry, 199 yards rushing and a TD. Lamar adds 54 and a TD rushing, 272 yards as a team. Justice Hill has a receiving TD and 78 yards. Derrick Henry also has a receiving TD. Jackson loses a fumble, clearly doesn't matter. Von Noy has 2 sacks. So the Ravens are starting to find a groove here. They were 2-2. They started 0-2, right? And they beat the Cowboys the week before last week. And now we go to the 2 Monday night games. Titans beat up on the Dolphins 31-12 for their first win. They're 1-3. Dolphins 1-3. 2 is obviously still hurt. Mason Rudolph comes in for, I said his name wrong last week. I was corrected and I still forgot what it is. I'm not even going to say his name. He gets hurt though and has a pick and 3 for 25 yards. Mason Rudolph has 85 yards. They have 102 yards passing. This actually was a worse passing game than the Broncos-Jets game. Pollard, 88 yards rushing and a TD. Spears, 39 yards rushing and a TD for the Titans. So they run the ball nice. DeAndre Hopkins has 31 yards and Boyd has 31 yards, both receiving. They get 2 sacks. So they ran the ball like crazy. 142 yards rushing as a team. 140 total carries. Huntley has 96 yards passing for the Dolphins. No TDs, no picks. He rushes for 40 yards though and has a touchdown. He leads the way. Waddle, 36 yards receiving to lead the way. Huntley loses a fumble as well. They have 1 sack. Number 51 has the pick. I'm just going to say their numbers. They have their numbers here for a reason. Because I know I'm going to mispronounce all the names. Dolphins are kind of screwed without Tua. I mean, it's kind of, guy's a good quarterback, They probably won't want to win a game with him out. And the final game, Lions win 42-29 over Seattle. Seattle drops to 3-1. Lions improve to 3-1. Geno Smith 395, a touchdown, a pick. He's sacked 3 times, 56 passes. Walker III has 3 rushing TDs and 80 yards. Metcalf 104 yards receiving. Barner has the receiving TD. Metcalf loses a fumble. Reed, Hall, and Jones have the sacks. Goff had the perfect game, right? He was 18 of 18, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. No picks. He sacked 3 times. St. Brown also passes for a touchdown that he threw to Goff. Gibbs has 2 rushing touchdowns. Montgomery has a rushing touchdown. Williams has a receiving TD. St. Brown has a receiving TD. And Goff has a receiving TD. They get 3 sacks as a team. Kirby Joseph has the pick. So, they go to 3-1. Gonna be a little tight race there now with the Vikings and the Packers find a groove too. You can have a 3-way. I mean, the Bears are doing too as well. So it's a tight division. Denver is so pitiful on offense. They find a way to win though. This, it's only 4 games in, but this Denver season is starting to remind me of that Tebow year where they're winning these tight defensive struggles. Weird things will happen. Who's playing next week? I'll look real quick at next week's matchups. The Thursday night game. Jeez, get ahead of myself. Tampa and Atlanta in a division battle. The NFC South. Jets are at Minnesota. Oh, they're playing in London, so that's going to be a 9:30 a.m. game here on East Coast time. They're playing in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The football team. The football team's playing in the football stadium. Carolina at the Bears, so the Bears can get to 3-2 if they win. Baltimore Bengals. Denver has to win that game against the Raiders. New Orleans has got Kansas City on Monday Night Football. And we got byes finally. Detroit, Tennessee, Philadelphia, and the Chargers all have byes. Dallas at Pittsburgh on Sunday night. So yeah, that is week 4 in the books. Baseball playoffs are coming up. They start today, actually. This will be going up today as well. I'm just getting in the groove of putting these recaps up just immediately Tuesday. Just get them done. The baseball playoffs start today. The Cardinals, oh my God. The Braves and the Mets both got in. They split the games yesterday in their doubleheader. So Arizona's out. So both World Series teams, them and the Rangers, didn't make the playoffs. But anyway, another recap done. Hope your teams did well. But thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.